Morning, everybody. Welcome back to the art studio. Sensei Cabs 716 coming at you here. We are talking about 2-point perspective, and I just wanted to show you one more little thing on the buildings, a little more advanced stuff. And then I'm going to go back into, we're going to do some lettering today. But I wanted to do a little bit of advanced thing with you on this, because you might want to try to do some houses or some buildings that don't have vertical or just perspective lines. Again, this is advanced level stuff. We're going to start breaking some of the rules today. All right. Start you off with a joke, though. Here we go. What did one toilet say to the other toilet? What did one toilet say to the other toilet? You look flushed. You look flushed. Oh, man. Cheesy. All right. Here's my drawing from the other day. Now, let's just pretend that we want to do some houses that have, like, sloped roofs like a normal house would, okay? And just for fun, I'm going to try to actually build this house on top of this building. Just see how it looks. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as always, I'm going to have a few vertical lines that I'm going to use for the actual sides of the house. So I'm going to do a few perspective lines off of this vertical. Again, I'm always checking both of my vanishing points. Then I'm going to use a vertical to have the other end of the house, here and here. Okay, so that's going to be, oh, that's a little off. I want to get that. In there. Okay, so I'm kind of building a new shape. So this stuff from that other building, and that, you got to take that away, okay? So it's when you're doing it, it's a lot easier if you start up front and kind of work your way back with your overlapping shapes. So if you go back, like I'm trying to do here, it's a lot of erasing involved. Okay, so. All right, so this is the beginning of a box here, and now I'm going to break one of our rules. One of my rules is always you got to have either vertical or perspective. Well, I'm going to do some diagonals that are going to be, they aren't going to be perspective lines or verticals, because I want to make like a little roof. Okay, so I'm going to make kind of a diagonal line. Okay. So I'm breaking the rules. Now, if you do this effectively, no problem, okay? So I'm trying to make like a house, all right? So what I probably want to do is get the end of this roof here. So the end of this roof and the end of the roof here are kind of on a line. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, now this front of the house here is on the panel, the plane that goes towards vanishing point 2. This side of the roof back in here is going to be on the plane that goes to vanishing point 1. Let me get all this out of our way. That's from the old building. So everything over here is going to end up going to vanishing point 1, okay? It'll look like this. That would go back, and then this would look like this. Okay? A lot like what we were doing in 1-point perspective, okay? So now, to get the other end of this roof, I want to just make a parallel line. This angle, whatever that is, I'm going to copy that back in here. I got a see-through ruler. It seems to really help me with that kind of stuff. Okay, and there's the roof, okay? So all this, those lines, we don't want to be able to see through the roof. So I'm just going to add a little shading. Notice what I'm doing with my shading. Look at those lines. They're not going up and down, and they're not in perspective either. I'm I'm copying this slant. So I get that illusion that it's slanted, okay? I'm gonna just do a few, let's do a little window or something in here. I'm just gonna make a big window in here. And again, anything on this side of this house thing I'm drawing up here is gonna be in perspective to vanishing point 2. Okay, those are not square. Went a little crazy there. That might look like a horizontal. Those might look like horizontal lines here and here, because I'm super close to the horizon line. I think my horizon line's right here. I'm super close to my horizon line, so they are almost horizontal, but they're not quite. So there you have it. There's like how you can do a house in 2-point perspective. Okay. Also, yesterday when we did the room, we were talking about some more advanced level things, showing like the insides of the side of the walls and stuff like that. And that you can do that for sure, but again, it is advanced level stuff. Okay, so like if I want to make like I don't know, this building is a weird building. It's got a huge hole in it, let's just say. Notice where I stopped. I stopped on my line that separates the ground here from the wall of the building. Okay. All right, so there's a huge doorway. Okay. Now, I can make this look like I can just see the sides of the walls. But again, this gets a little tricky, but it really can add a lot to your drawing. Okay, so if I go back to vanishing point 1, and why am I going over to vanishing point 1? Because I'm turning the corner. I'm trying to make a corner. Okay, now it looks like I can see the thickness of the wall. This is like the thickness part of the wall, and then this is the plane of the wall over here. Okay, I wouldn't do anything here because it's hiding back behind this part of the wall over here. Okay, I wouldn't draw anything here or here, and I don't have to draw this top corner because it's hiding behind this part of the wall. Sometimes you would see that, like if I was up here, I would see a little bit of that. So that's how you can do that. A lot of times I like to do this on these. That seems to help. And then there was like a mark coming out of the, this would be flat. This is like a flat piece of the sidewalk here. Okay, so that's how you can do that. You can do a lot of cool stuff with balconies and stuff like that on using this technique. But again, it gets complicated because this is another little corner, okay? So when you cross this little corner right here, you're going to the other vanishing point, okay? And again, if you draw something and it doesn't really make sense visually, it doesn't look right, it's probably because you're looking at the wrong vanishing point. Okay, guys, that is just a little bit more of an advanced level thing for your buildings. And because if you want to do some houses or something, you could. Here it is again. Kind of looking through this. Yep, I didn't meet up to that corner really perfectly, so. Something like that. Okay, so I can see in here. That's like the thickness of the wall of the house. Pretty thick wall, but kind of silly to have a house on top of a building anyways. So it would look something like that, okay? Okay, so that's a little bit more on buildings. Now, let's talk about doing some lettering. A lot of people love to do lettering in 2 point. So I'm gonna split this up into 2 days. I'm gonna do one today that's kind of basic, and then tomorrow I'll do one that's a little more advanced. And the one tomorrow is pretty cool, so. All right, I'm gonna start off with a horizon line, as always. And I'm gonna set up my vanishing points, as always. In the edges, vanishing point 1 and vanishing point 2, VP1, VP2, okay? All right, now I'm gonna put a vertical here. pretty good size vertical. And I'm going to go over to my 2 vanishing points. Vanishing point 2. Point 2. And again, this is very awkward for me to draw like this with my hand upside down. You should turn your paper sideways so it's easy for you. There's our basics. There's a basic 2-point setup, right? It could be the beginning of a city, whatever I want to do. But today I'm going to do some letters. Okay, so forget this section over here for a minute. And you can do this, you can do it over here, the letters over here, or you could do them over here or up in the sky, wherever. But just for my example, I'm going to do my letters here. So I'm going to forget all about vanishing point 1 for a second. Just pretend this is like a 1-point perspective drawing, and I'm doing some letters. And I'm going to draw the letters inside of these lines. So it's going to be, let's see, what am I going to do? I'll come up with a word we're going to do here. The letters are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. The verticals of the letter, like the letter H, the sides of the letter will be vertical, okay? Everything else, any horizontals, will be in perspective. Okay, I'm going to do the word hello. So here we go. So I'm going to block out. It's real light. The word hello. You might notice that I had the letters get a little thinner and they're getting smaller as I go, okay? And I'm doing this very lightly. Now, but look, the middle part of the H, the crossbar of the H is in perspective. The E, I'm doing a capital E. It's in perspective. And I'm looking at vanishing point 2 right now, guys. This part is going to be a vertical. Okay. This part of the L is in perspective. And then the O, okay? Again, we're at an advanced level now. The O is definitely not vertical, horizontal. It's not vertical, it's not perspective, it's a curve, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so that I drew that pretty light. I'm darken that in now. I just wanted to make sure I could get all these letters in. You could do your name. I had a student that did a beautiful, beautiful drawing a couple years ago for the word was Harambe. It was Free Harambe or Long Live Harambe, which was a story about a gorilla in one of the zoos. That was a couple years back. All right, so this is in perspective. No problem. You guys, we know this. We've done this before. Notice that these are in perspective, okay? And and the O, let's get that O in there. Okay. Okay, now we're gonna act like these are like wooden block letters. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start to check everything back over to vanishing point 1. That's where I'm gonna get my 3D effect from. And I'm gonna start here and I'm gonna work my way back into the drawing so all my overlaps make sense. I wouldn't start with the O and cut my perspective lines through all the letters because I'd have to do a ton of erasing. So let's start with the H. And I'm checking all the corners just like we did a couple weeks ago in 1 point. Okay, we're just looking at corners. Whether or not I should draw the corner or not. From the inside corner counts too. This corner here, this is called an inside corner. That counts too. You got to check that too. Notice what I'm doing here. I am not drawing all the way back to the vanishing point. I could if I wanted to, but I'm eventually gonna end these letters somewhere, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing this corner because it cuts through the letter. So I don't want it to look like see-through or open. I want to make them look solid today, okay? All right, now I can decide somewhere where am I going to end these letters. And I think they're going to end way back about here. So I'm going to make, there's my vertical, so I know that this has got to be a vertical. So I'm going to drop this vertical in here. And I'm going to try to have all my letters end at kind of the same place. So I'm going to take this perspective line back just a bit more. This one back just a bit more. And this one just a bit more. Okay, now, how do we end this? Well, we can't draw a line at vanishing point 1. And again, we're turning a corner. We're going around the corner of a letter. So that lots of times will tell you it's time to switch vanishing points. So if I go to vanishing point 2 with this back edge, which will be a line through here, that's where I know this letter ends. And actually, you know what I'm going to do is I am going to continue that line all the way back, because all my letters are going to end on that line. That's going to be my cutoff line for all these letters. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at this. So back here, we've got the top of the H, we've got the side of the H. Let's see this little section in here. Back in here, this vertical, we're going to match it. That would be a vertical here too. Everything else, all this stuff is hiding back in here. All this stuff is hiding back in here. So I don't have to draw any of that stuff. I'm going to get this line out of here. That was our original line that set up the height of all the letters. And there's my H, okay? Want to add some shading? You sure could. It would be up and down in here because that's the wall of the inside wall of the H, and I would make this section pretty dark because there's no light in there, okay? If I wanted to shade this, I could use this line, or I could use this line and copy that line. Going back towards that vanishing point, okay? Because I want it to look flat. All right, E, let's do the E. This little corner of the E, right here, goes to vanishing point 1. This little part of the E, make sure I'm right on that line. That goes back to vanishing point 1, and again, I'm going to have them all stop back in there. 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 Notice that once I overlapped here, that line stops, and I don't continue it here, continue it back here, or whatever. Okay, that's it for the E. This is the back side of the E. It's here, and then just a super tiny right here. It's a little bit of that hiding back in there. All right, because we're getting close to the horizon line, so things are starting to really flatten out on us. What happened there? Oh, I'm off a little bit. Yep. See, that doesn't quite look right because I missed my vanishing point. Once in a while, that'll happen. Let's double check that one. Off of this edge here, I missed my vanishing point. Yeah, that's better. Okay, bottom of the L. Just from there to there, because the rest of it's hiding back behind the E. I gotta do this part of the L. Again, just from there to there, because the rest of it's hiding back behind there. All right, let's do that other L. Just from there to there. Here. Oh, and there's one more part of the L over here. This little guy over here. Right there. And that's it. Now we can darken these lines up here because this is that part of the L. That's the other part of the L there. Okay. If you want to see more of the tops of those letters, if I would have drawn these letters down lower or put my vanishing points up higher, you could have seen more of that. All right, the curve. Just like in 1 point, we're looking for just that top edge where we just catch, the top edge of it. It'll be right about here. Where we catch just the bottom edge of it, right about here. And again, we want to make that with curved shading lines or perspective, okay? This line, this guideline that we had, take that out. And there you have it, okay? It's a nice, simple 2-point perspective letters. Going back in and just adding my shading. Not getting too crazy with it. Just to pop those letters, the separation of those letters, okay? And that's how you do lettering in 2-point. Tomorrow I'll show you something a little more advanced. We can try something a little different. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Everybody be safe out there. Peace.